having seen large, small organizations, publicly owned, privately owned, for non-for-profit organizations, do you think there are some organizations that are better in a disciplined execution of a strategy? Is there a trend that you see?
Intuitively, you'd want to say that for-profit companies are more disciplined, they've got better measured metrics and mechanisms in place to stay on track of that. Compensation gets tied to that. But often I will see not-for-profits actually do it a little bit better because they tend to be more mission-driven. So there's something more meaningful to them around this. There's something bigger than the actual job or the program or the transformation. There's something more altruistic about the nature of the work they're doing in a not-for-profit. So while yes, larger organizations can put in the right technology and tools and bring in consultants and do all the right things from the outside to help them stay on track, there's something to be said about feeling a sense of meaningfulness around this. Purpose, and makes them want to be part of this, that they'll stick to it a little bit more.
And we saw the rise of the clear purpose in organizations around pandemic. It became very much a conversation at the CEO table, is that we are not only serving ability to buy a new BMW, but also a higher purpose. The slogans like there is no healthy business without healthy community around it, and organizations choosing a cause that they would be supporting where acknowledged that having that clarity of a mission attracted more interesting talents, etc., etc. I don't hear that conversation anymore in the last few years. What do you hear?
I think purpose is still there. I think for a variety of reasons, largely political, it's kind of gone a little bit underground, or it's been a little bit understated. But I think it still matters. I think good leaders, good CEOs know that there has to be a clear why. Why would your customers want to come to you? Why would talent want to come and work for you? Why would investors want to put their capital into your trust? So there still has to be that in place. It may not be above the fold on the newspapers as it once was, but I think it's still there. I think it's important that organizations keep that in place because you're right. If you want to grow and you want to be able to take your organization to the next level, you've got to be able to attract customers or clients. You've got to be able to attract top talent. You've got to be able to attract investors. Without doing that, and it's been largely broadly called stakeholder capitalism and thinking about your communities, and it's taken a bit of a knock because some investors or some people believe that took the eye off the ball of the shareholder. But my view is pretty clear on this, that you don't have shareholder returns if you don't do the right things by your customers and your people and the communities you're part of.
Beautiful, thank you. A moment ago you mentioned also something about tracking and measuring the performance and the strategy execution. I believe that what you don't measure doesn't get done.
Yes.
People are just too busy. How should an organization track the execution and the progress in order to really reap the benefits of the strategy and the direction that they have chosen? What are some of the tools and processes that you might want to highlight and saying, okay, if you want to put parameters and frameworks in place that will help you smooth sales smoothly, what would it be? Any wisdom there?
I think it comes down to, it's a broad topic, but I would say that in my experience, a lot of programs or transformations, whatever word you want to label it with, fail because of poor governance. We're just not clear on roles, responsibilities, and how we're going to decide things. Because really governance is all about how we're going to decide things. And then what are the responsibilities inherent in that, and who's going to be accountable for certain things, and how do we collectively come together to track on that. So first and foremost, you have to have the right framework in place around your governance. Second, I think it's about, yes, making sure you have the right metrics, to your point, what you're measuring against, so that you can understand,
relevant.
Are we on track or are we off track? And if we're off track, what are we going to do about it? But I think there's a third piece as part of that too. And yes, technology plays a role. I think the days of trying to track things on spreadsheets or PowerPoint slides, the old watermelon projects, everything's green then until it all of a sudden becomes red. I think there's technology that can help us stay on track, and I think there's great tools that put it in the hands of someone on their phones. All of that's important to do, and it's essential to do. But what I'm coming around to more and more are the metrics meaningful? And what I mean by that, yes, there's certain things we need to do to drive growth, we need to drive margin, we need to drive profitability. But what are some of the meaningful statistics or KPIs, key performance indicators you need to track that keep people engaged? How is this going to impact your customer experience, your employee experience? How is it going to impact your community experience, if you wanted to go back to that? They're more than just the hard number metrics, which I think people become a little bit jaded around over time. So if we could have more meaningful metrics, ones that mean something to the people, again, coming back to a sense of mission around that, then I think you're much more likely to have people work on the business pieces versus being consumed with their day jobs around that.
And they will see the relevance of what they're doing.
100%.